Hello, everyone. Pastor Ryan here. As you can see, I am working from home today. Lisa and we like to alternate the days that we are working at the church simply because we can with the wonders of modern technology. This is the second week of Advent, and so in this time of Advent, when the days get shorter as our place on the planet turns further away from the sun and its light, we're given a chance to look for another kind of light. As we read in the Gospel of John, what has what has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. Through the light of Christ, we are we're offered a chance to see that all creation has come into being through God's love, a love that draws and connects all of us and all of creation to one another, a love that is alive and flowing and evolving in and through this world, even when the days are the darkest. This, you might say, is John's Christmas story, since he doesn't include a birth story for Jesus like what we find in Matthew and Luke. In those other Christmas stories, however, when we hear the cry from the Christ child, perhaps if we listen with John's ears, we might hear something in addition to the sweetness and the fragility of Jesus being born like the rest of us. Perhaps if we listen with John's ears, we might also hear a cry for us to see everything in creation as being touched by God's holiness and created in God's love. Perhaps we might hear a cry for us to care for all creation, just as we would take care of a little baby, like the Christ child. Perhaps we are being called to become a little more aware of and attentive to all the many ways that God's love flows through this world, and all the many ways that the light of Christ still shines in it. In a day and age of global climate change, when the health and well-being of the planet itself is being threatened on scales of ever increasing magnitudes, we could definitely use some holy light to guide us in a new direction, I think. But then again, it's a little like the pandemic. While we wait for scientists and leaders to work things out, to do the right thing, to make wise decisions, to redirect resources and to develop new technologies or vaccines, as is the case with the pandemic, the most the most any of us can do sometimes is to just wait patiently and to live our lives a little more attuned to this new reality that we find ourselves in. And so perhaps the greatest gift we could ask for and receive in these days of Advent waiting is the gift of awareness, the gift of listening, and the gift of seeing that all of creation truly has been created in love and is meant to be protected with love. All creation cries out with the Christ child for our care and our love. And so, in these days of Advent waiting, maybe take some time to look for and to listen for God's love in the unfolding and evolving nature of creation in your own backyard, in a park, or out in the fields at sunset. I like to think of this poem that I'm going to read for you, this poem by Mary Oliver, as an invitation. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. O good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass. Take some time this week to practice being a little more aware of the wonders around us. And perhaps in these Advent days of waiting, you might catch a little of the light, a little of the light of Christ that touches us and gives us hope. It touches and gives hope to all things and all people. And through that light, perhaps we all might come to see new ways to prepare, to make room for all the many ways that God's love, the Word made flesh, Christ Jesus, is still being born into this world and is still inviting us to love and care for all creation and all people, just as God has so loved and cared for us. Take care, everyone. Keep wearing those masks. Keep your distance a little while longer. Hope is on the horizon, and we'll get there together. May God's peace be with all of you.